Hi, I'm Helen, founder and CEO of Dr. Helen Holton and Associates, and host of Dr. Helen Speaks. Welcome. As a strengths, resilience, and leadership coach, I guide leaders to grab hold of your greatness by learning how to leverage your strengths, manage weaknesses, and build your resilience using an innovative system with proven results. Now, I know even as I say that, some of you watching may be saying to yourself, so what? Well, the so what is this. By using our system to number one, leverage your strengths, number two, manage weaknesses, and number three, to build your resilience, will increase your performance, productivity, and prosperity potential. Now, in business talk, that's fancy terminology for profits or the bottom line. But what happens is you're able to achieve these things for you, your team, and your organization. Do you get to do what you do best every day? I do, and I love it. And I want that for you too. I really do. So one of the key ingredients to get you there is engagement. I know I say it week after week, and guess what? I'm going to keep saying it because it really works. I'm here to help you engage deeper, to discover and develop your unique path, and to have more of what you really want for your life. Isn't that what we really aspire to? What we spend our days and nights, those things that keep us up, trying to figure out, how can I live my best life ever? Well, understand this. It's not easy and it doesn't happen overnight. But here's the truth of it. If you stick with the simple steps of my system, it will lead you to living your best life ever on your terms. And I'll be here every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time and 1 p.m. Eastern time. And each week, I'll share with you from the wisdom of lessons learned and lived experiences, along with earned expertise that I picked up over the years that have proven to be successful along life's journey. Now, it doesn't mean everything I picked up was successful, but when you pick up those things that aren't successful, they help you become more successful. All that to say that this is my opportunity to pay it forward through you. That's right. Along this journey, you'll hear from some dynamic women leaders who their impact and influence is felt and lived around the world. Earlier on, when I talked about some of the quotes of people who I admire, aspire, all of that, even being here with you today, is born out of lessons learned. So I want to welcome you to Strengths, Resilience, and the Leadership Journey. If this is your first time here, glad you're here. If you've been here before, keep coming back because it's going to get better. I promise you. I've got some great news I'm going to share with you at the end of today's show. So if you're here today, I know it's because you see and believe in the leader that lives within you. That's right. We all have one that lives within us. Now, whether we acknowledge it to ourselves publicly or privately, I'm convinced that somewhere in the deep recesses of your spirit, you know there's a leader in you. And when I say leader, it doesn't mean that you're out to be the CEO of Amazon or YouTube or I don't know, some other big multinational conglomerate that's out there. It could be something simple. It could be you want to be the leader as the teacher in your classroom or the principal in your school. It could be you have a burning passion to do something and you're going to launch out on your own to be an entrepreneur. Whatever it is, there's a leader in you. And I'm here to help you figure that out, uncover it, discover it. Because what I want is that I want you to be able to live your best life. And so I know that there are no coincidences in life. And your being here is a step in the right direction. Now, I begin every show with an attitude of gratitude. It begins before you even get here. And I'm grateful for your presence here today. And I'm also grateful for Paula Fellingham, the visionary leader and founder of Win Win Women TV, driven by a goal that she's been working on for probably quarter of a century. Yeah, 25 years. Yeah. To connect more than 3.9 billion women on the planet to come together for growth, education, motivation, inspiration, success, and community. And that's what we're building here. We're building a community. What makes that community work? What makes life work? Really, it boils down to engagement. Engagement is the clue. It's the glue. It's the magic that makes life happen bigger. Engagement is really all about relationships, how we support and share with each other. Did you know that our engagement is really embodied in our relationships? It lives at the core of everything we do, even with ourselves. Now, we're not here just to complete tasks and check off boxes on our to-do list. And I've got plenty to-do lists. Yes, it's one of the things I'm working on, how to streamline them into one major to-do list. I've tried it many different ways with many different applications, and it's something I'm still working on, but I'm getting better at it than what I used to be. So I call that progress. The truth be told, completing tasks and checking the boxes on your to-do list, that's not a measure of empowered accomplishment. It might be an accomplishment, but does it empower you towards your greatness? Our greatest strengths and power are realized in our ability to connect and engage. And that's where your success really begins. Engagement matters. It's important. It's how I made it here to this platform where I am with you today at Win Win Women TV. And I have to thank Norma Hollis for the invitation to join this network of like-minded women out to change the world for the better through our own gifts. And we have different gifts. What we do here at Dr. Helen Speaks is to stimulate and stir the pot of your life to discover, uncover, and explore ways that you can deepen your ability to engage, communicate, and connect for greater success. Our connections actually occur out of our similarities and differences, what we have in common, and ways of being complementary in the presence of differences. What do I mean by that? So what am I not really good? There are a lot of things I'm not really good at, and there are a few that I really excel at. For example, I love handwritten notes, and occasionally I take the time to write them. But I know people who write them, it's like the air they breathe. And instead of being envious of that, it's an opportunity for me to connect and understand, what does it take to do that? And maybe the way they do it is something I'm just always going to appreciate and admire. But it's in the connection with other people who are different from you. Now, that's a simplistic difference. The difference could be pretty major. It could be a cultural difference. It could be racial differences. It could be abilities differences. Yeah, we can go there. But the point being, it's not always about being around people who are just like you. And truth be told, there's no one who's exactly like you. And so engagement and connections are important. And so while we're here, we'll look at the layers of life. Our layers of life begin with self, begins with you, and it expands to others in your sphere of influence, and then to the universe. Think of it like concentric circles. You know, there's a small one and a bigger one and a slightly bigger one till you have a really big circle. Concentric circles. Well, with you at the center of that, who are you? What are you here for? How clear are you about what you really want for your life? And this is important because you are at the center of your universe. Yeah, it's the whole planet of everybody else. But as it pertains, it begins with you and what you make of it and how you show up. And this is where others come into play. How do others see you? How do others respond to you? What impact do you make on them? What three words would you use to describe how others see and respond to you? And then there's the universe. Yes, it's the whole world. When we think about your role with others and then the universe, understand this. You are a unique human being. There's no one in the world exactly like you. You imprint the world with your presence, with a unique impression that no one else can make. How about that? It's your unique contribution that touches the hearts and minds of others in an unforgettable way. What's your imprint? What's the unique mark that you leave on the world? Think of it as your legacy, because when you're long gone, someone will remember you. And how will they remember you? This is where Win-Win Women comes in here. And I love the philosophy of it. We're here to help you identify, use, and maximize your unique it. And we all have that it. Now, whether you want to refine it, revise it, revel in the richness of it. Yeah, every now and then you got to do that. My commitment is to help you do and be a better you. So let's talk about how this all comes into play. At the heart of communication and connection is a genuine desire to help you. I want to help you think more deeply. That's what coaches do, help you think more deeply, and take on those things that maybe you aren't really comfortable thinking about by yourself. But it's time to get that way, or else you're just always going to live on the surface of your life. And when you think about how deep you can make your life, it may not be as deep as you think it could because you're not really investing in it. Communicate. We're going to help you find your voice to communicate better through your lived experiences with confidence and conviction. Yes, you got to be convicted by it in order to really shore up your confidence. I know what that's like, and I bet you do too. And lastly, it's about what are you going to do and what are you going to do differently? And we're going to help you think about how you do differently through demonstrating your determination to be your best unique you. There's richness in that. I'm telling you, it's a pathway that's going to help you live your best life ever. So, as your show host, guide, coach, and connector, together we'll discuss ways you can leverage your strengths, manage weaknesses, and build your resilience as a leader. These are all essential elements to grow and develop your leadership to a new level of influence, impact, and a higher level of success. So before we jump in, let me share some logistics of the show. I should have done that at the start of it, but that's okay. Better late than never. The first half of our show is focused on communication through content, sharing information to educate, empower, and inform. Or maybe it's just to wow you with an aha every now and then. I'm not a real comedian, but I do have a great sense of humor. The second half of the show is about conversation and connection. This is where we actively engage each other to think deeper through dialogue, inquiry, and curiosity. So if you're here, I know you've got a bit of curiosity. If you've come back, at least I've got you trying to figure out what you're going to talk about next week. So grab your note-taking device, whether it's paper and pen or electronic tablet, your phone or your computer, whatever. but let's get ready to capture those nuggets of wisdom, insight, and notable comments. You ready to go? Great. Me too. So let's do it. I want to start off with a recap of what we've covered over the last 4 weeks, because I launched a series, and this is the last part 5 of this series on leadership, assessments, and tools to grow and build your success. In part 1, we discussed the what and why of leadership assessments. What are they? Why do they matter? And what's in them for you? Or pretty much the WIFM principle. What's in it for me? At the end of the day, isn't that what we all want to know? What is in it for me? Tried and true principle. I don't know who came up with it. And interestingly enough, I've never thought to research that, but that's for another show. Part 2, we began our exploration looking at different types of assessments and started with DISC and Myers-Briggs. I started with these two and looking at how they're similar and how they're different, but really they're a couple of the oldest assessment tools that have been around first on the scene to do what they do as validated and reliable tools. In part 3, we looked at the Hogan assessment system, and we also looked at the 360-degree multi-rater appraisal. We discussed the importance of the role of validation and reliability, as I just said, among assessments, and the relevance of periodic reviews and revisions to improve validity and reliability. Now, this is really important to me personally. I mean, I appreciate all of the reviews to make sure the assessments you're using or taking, really, you're doing them for the purpose and intention with which they're designed, but you also want to know, there's so many assessment tools out here today. If you don't ask or inquire about the validity and reliability of the instrument, you may not be getting results that are really, how can I say, in my mind, tried and true about who you are, particularly when we're talking about psychometric assessments or personality assessments that help us better understand who we are. Why it's personally important to me, the review process that these assessments periodically go through, is it's an opportunity for them to improve their instruments in light of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Why is this important? I'll get to that in a minute. Let me finish the wrap up. So in part 4, we spent time becoming familiar or more familiar with the Gallup-Clifton Strengths Assessment, formerly known as StrengthsFinders. So if someone says StrengthsFinders, do me a favor, just say, oh, you mean the Gallup-Clifton Strengths Assessment? Yeah, it's important. Think of it as if someone, here's an example. Let's say you get married and you change your name and there's someone who wants to keep calling you by your maiden name. Yeah, that's kind of like that is. They changed the name, but they changed it not because they got married. They changed it as a way to honor the founder, Don Clifton. And so they named it Clifton Strengths. Oh, and we also talked about the Intercultural Development Inventory, also known as the IDI. The IDI is one of the most widely used and effective tools for measuring and increasing your intercultural competence. And can I just tell you, in the times we're living, that's a really big deal. We live in local, global communities. And as a result of that, it's important to understand how to get along with others, especially people who are different from you. Because at the end of the day, we really do need each other, not just to survive, but to thrive and to be successful. So what are we going to think deeply about today? Okay, I already said this is part 5 of this series. So we're going to do a wrap up. And we're going to talk about what makes all of this stuff stick. What makes these assessments valuable? What makes them lead to the secret to your success. What is it? Coaching. That's right, coaching. Now, let's talk about what coaching is. Different from Little League or intramural sports or, well, different and similar in some ways. Coaching is really about having courageous conversations. And it's best to have them if you're talking about professional coaching with a trained, certified, and credentialed coach. Coaching begins with where you are. Right here, right now, if you were to say, I think I want to do some coaching to move my career forward, to shift careers, shift jobs. I don't know. It could be just to be a better you. Coaching begins with where you are and helps you chart your course ahead to where you want to be. And it happens in a safe and trusted space. Now, I'm certified by the International Coaching Federation, and that's really important because they have a whole set of guidelines and ethics and all sorts of things to ensure. And some of you probably know today, there are a lot of people out there hanging their shingle out saying, hey, I'm a coach, come see me, pay my fees, and I'm going to help you do whatever. Make sure you find out. Are they credentialed? Are they certified? Have they undertaken professional training to be in a position to help chart your course for your future? Something to consider. Working with a coach is a mutual agreement. I'm never going to twist your arm and say, come, coach with me. No, I want you to come willingly and on your own. And reputation matters, which we talked about reputation. And it matters. Your reputation is based upon how you show up in the world. Do you do it with integrity? Are you honorable? Are you passionate about what you do? Do you have compassion for the people you work with? All of these things matter. So when we're talking about a mutual agreement, because there are times I have terminated coaching arrangements because people weren't committed. What does commitment look like? Coaching is not a quick, get rich quick scheme. Nope. It won't leapfrog you to where you want to be because you have one session. It's something that takes time. And you think deeply. And there's accountability. Oh, and by the way, there's a little homework to go along with it. All of these things help you move forward closer to the life you really want to live. Coaching, now I need to tell you the things that coaching is not. Coaching is not counseling. Counseling is looking backwards. Coaching is looking forward. Coaching is not consulting. Consulting is if you came to me and said, Dr. Helen, I've been mulling over how I'm going to move my team forward. Can you just come and write the plan for me and tell me how to do it? That's consulting. You aren't willing to do it for yourself. And that's okay. It's just, you got to be clear on what you're going after. If you're coming for coaching, I don't have the answers for you. No one has the answers, the best answers for you better than you. But sometimes it takes you willing to go to that place within yourself that maybe you don't feel sure. You second guess yourself. That's called your inner critic that always wants to poo-poo on all the plans you have for your life. Some of them probably need to be poo-pooed, but that's okay. Your inner critic will poo-poo even those things you think about that are great, that are exactly in alignment with where you want to be and what you believe your calling in this life is, because we all have one. But it's not consulting. So if you're coming to me for answers, not that I can't help you, but I'm going to tell you, I'm taking off my coaching hat and I'm putting on my consulting hat. Now, what do you want me to help you solve? What problem do you want me to help you solve? That's consulting. Coaching is not mentoring. Have you ever had a mentor before? I've had some that were given to me and some I sought after on my own. A mentor is someone that's going to have conversations with you, listen to you, talk to you, but then they're going to kind of guide you along the path you need to go, either because they have definite experience in doing that, which is usually what makes a mentor your mentor. They've been that path before you, and they're going to help you manage that path successfully, if that's what you choose to do. Life is a choice. Never forget that. And you can choose if it's what you want. So I'll tell you a little bit about my practice. I've got multiple coaching certifications. And I think it's important. It's like continuing education. And as a lifelong learner, what would it be if I didn't embark upon continuing education? I'm a lifelong learner. I just love it. Sometimes I have to stop, Helen, enough already, but that's okay. It's good. It feeds my input. That's one of my top 5 strengths. But we truly live in a local global world today. And here at Win Win Women TV, we're reaching women all over the world. Our differences range from the simple to the complex. Knowing who you are, where you are, and how you show up matters to your success. I can tell you this. The life I live today would not be possible without the concerted efforts of many people working towards building, fighting, pushing for a more inclusive world. Living with a sense of belonging, which is something we all desire to have, began long before any of us were here. And we still have a long way to go. But I will tell you this, there's room enough for all of our gifts to coexist in the world at the same time. In these modern times, I'm grateful for every step taken to create and foster a more inclusive and equitable opportunities for all of us to reach and grab that brass ring of success. Yes, there's room for us all. You know, as a woman of color, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a central part of the work I do in my coaching, consulting, and cultural competency practice. The evidence is clear that diversity and inclusion, along with a genuine effort towards equitable advancements, always yields better outcomes. There's tons of data and research on it. Just Google the impact of DEI, period. It matters because you matter. I matter. And belonging is so much more than a kumbaya feeling. Yeah, it's great to have that feel-good moment when you connect, but what's even more powerful is when you connect with people that are different from you. And so through this 5-part series, we've laid the groundwork for how strengths, resilience, and leadership came to be the central focus of my practice with executives, entrepreneurs, and emerging leaders. Leadership growth and development begins with knowing who you are at your best, as revealed through assessments that help you figure out how you most naturally think, feel, and behave in ways that you're familiar with, many of them. But what about those that you're clueless about? Those aha moments, they're very real. The use of assessment tools along with coaching is a proven path to you becoming a more empowered leader who's learned to leverage your strengths, manage weaknesses, and build your resilience to do and be your best self with increased performance, productivity, and prosperity potential. Does your life give you the chance to do what you do best every day? If it does, that's great. It's something we share in common. And I know you picked up a couple of ways to stretch and grow even more. But if you're not quite there yet, my goal is to help you get there. I'm living my best life ever, and I want that for you too. So join Dr. Helen Speaks, Strengths, Resilience, and Leadership here on Win Win Women TV every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time and 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And together, we'll work to help you live your best life ever, doing what you do best every day. Won't you join me?